Okay. Good morning. I'd like to welcome you all to Hope Unitarian Church. It's wonderful to see everyone today on this brisk morning. Hopefully the last brisk morning of the season. I'm the Reverend Justin McCreary, and I'm excited that you're here with us. If you're new to Unitarian Universalism, one of the things I always like to say is that we're covenantal, we're not creedal. And this means something very simple and can be summed up by the words of David Farring. One need not think alike to love alike. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. Being rooted in love, we believe that all human beings should be treated with dignity and respect. On this hill, we seek hope, love, and justice together in community. And whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, in whatever your life circumstances, you are welcome here. This morning is a very special morning. Not only is it the last day of our pledge drive, but our membership committee is here on the front row. Let's give them a hand. Our membership committee is here doing a new member ceremony this morning. So that's a very exciting thing for all of us here at Hope Unitarian Church. And at this time, I would invite you to rise in body or spirit as you feel so called to sing our hymn of gathering. It is our tradition at Hope Unitarian Church to light a chalice at the beginning of each service. And as we do that, we say these words. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life that we share together. You may be seated. Our invocation this morning is by Dr. Julia Corbett Haymeyer. We light this chalice in celebration of joy, the flickering flame of a candle, a flame that shimmers and dances, that cheers, the flame that heartens and encourages us in hard times, the welcoming flame of this community. And let's say our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and love, to help one another. And as we sing our first hymn, I will invite you to rise once again as we sing Morning Has Broken, and I would invite you to rise in body or spirit as you feel so called. You may be seated.
Good morning. I love it when everybody says good morning. Welcome to Hope. My name is James Donovan. I have a few announcements for you. Thanks to all of you who made a pledge for this upcoming church year. We're going to celebrate by having what is being called a hootenanny, which Rebecca and Jones and I have talked about this, and we picture Jed Clampett coming out with his jug of moonshine and doing a jig. So stick around for that after the service. You may be wondering what you're going to do for Easter. I know Easter isn't a huge holiday for a lot of us Unitarian Universalists, but we've got it all figured out for you. We're going to have a breakfast on Sunday, April 20th. And you don't have to make reservations for brunch. You just show up here, and we need people to help serve it, or prepare and serve it. And there's a sign-up sheet out there where you will see I think we're going to have a cake out there after the service. Are we going to have a cake? Yeah. So go out there and sign up to bring something for that breakfast. And we'll also, if the weather's nice, we'll probably walk the trails and stuff in celebration of Hope and Earth Day. As you already mentioned, we're going to have a new member recognition. Stick around after the service and talk to all the new members. On Saturday, April 20th, the group called Her Story is going to have an event with the speaker who a lot of you know, Carrie Vandiver. She's a nurse practitioner at Community Health Connection. and the daughter of Larry and Claudia over here. I know that a lot of you will be surprised that they have an adult child because they're so youthful. Just going to talk about probably about the Title 10 program, a federal family planning grant that helps reproductive people prevent or plan pregnancy. She will be discussing various aspects of reproductive health care for women in our community. We will also be providing updates on various legislative actions and plans for future activism in our community. That alone could take several hours. So that's 1:30 to 3:30 this Saturday, April 12th. I want to give a shout out to all the people who help do things during the services on Sunday mornings. We have the choir, of course. We have an usher, like Warren's back there being the usher. We have greeters. We have our AV people. Today it's Robert Billings and Jacob Hart. Jacob's been there every morning for months now doing that. We also have a worship assistant, or associate, which is what I'm called. We have people who bring in the cookies and make sure the coffee's served and all that kind of thing. If you want to be a part of this group of people, would you say? Yeah, well, key people. If you want to be a part of this, just grab me after the service and I'll hook you up. And I believe that is it, except that I want to have Vanessa Self and Jeff Dossett come up. They're going to talk about the pledge drive.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. I am pleased to be a person serving with an amazing co-chair this year for our annual pledge drive. It has been a great experience, and it has been really gratifying to see the generosity, hear the people's stories who are willing to share their why I give statements, and to be reminded of why I love hope so much. One of the projects we did as part of the pledge drive was asking people to write some of their own short one-sentence ideas about why they give and form it into our heart chain there. If you come close after the service, you'll see that people have written short statements on each heart, and it's kind of fun to see what people have written on them. You'll also notice over here we have our pledge drive monitor, our heart monitor. We are so grateful for everyone who's pledged so far. You see, we do have a little ways to go, and thankfully there are more people who haven't pledged yet who can hopefully help us get there. But again, it's been my honor to help with this year's pledge drive. Please stay for the hootenanny, and please remember that a pledge is a promise. Our annual church year runs from July to July, our fiscal year. So this is your promise for the 25-26 fiscal year. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Vanessa for all the work she's done in this pledge drive. This is our first time together to do this, and first time together separate we've done it. And so it's been a great experience actually, and kind of eye-opening as far as seeing the true generosity of this congregation with their checkbooks. It's really nice to see that people look into this community, this church, and say, you know, I really love what we do. And they show that love not just by coming up here every Sunday and volunteering, but financially supporting it is part of it, and we appreciate that very much. Being in charge of the finance committee, I've got another hat to wear where I've got to get a budget done, and that's coming up really, really fast. And so if you've ever been in that process to a household budget or a work budget, it's kind of hard to forecast when we don't really have the full roadmap. And so we've got to get just the last couple folks to give us that roadmap so we can get there. So if you need some help with the pledge website or any of those things, reach out to us, let us know. Those of you here that have already pledged, thank you. We very much appreciate it. We do have the Hootenanny coming in after, just kind of a fun way to say thank you to the congregation and just let our hair down, those of us who have some, a little bit anyways, and have some fun. So thank y'all, and I will let Justin get back to his business.
Good morning. My name is Gail Hawk, and I'm the chair of the membership committee. Today, we are taking this opportunity to welcome our new members who have joined since our last new member ceremony in October, and one family that joined earlier but were unable to attend that ceremony. Our next ceremony, again, will be next October. I would like to take a few moments to say a few words about membership. Membership in this church is simple because all that is required is to sign the membership book and fill out a membership card. Membership in this church is simple because we have no creed, no oath to swear. Membership in this church is difficult because you have joined a community searching for truth when truth can be elusive. Membership means you are part of a congregation struggling for justice, knowing that struggle can be long. Membership means you have joined with people who strive to live in loving relationships with each other. Now I was going to invite the president of the board up to conduct our ceremony, but he was ill this morning and unable to attend, so at the last minute, our president-elect, Vanessa Self, came to help.
Thank you, Gail. I now have the pleasure of introducing our new members. As I call your name, please come forward and stand here in front of the podium. As you come forward, the membership committee members will offer you some commemorative gifts. If you have children with you, please feel free to bring them forward with you if you choose. Congregation, please hold your applause until all members are present. Firstly, I would like to recognize just quickly Lavon Boeck and Deb Cochran are new members, but they were unable to attend today. So first to come forward, please, Larry Cochran. Welcome. Thanks, Larry. Okay, Cheryl Manasco. Allie Sheehan. Joe Sheehan. And with them this morning are Jonah, Ben, Bodie, Saya, Scout, and Dawson, who will hopefully sing the ABCs at some point, if we're lucky. Oh. Joining a church is but a beginning for both the church and the new members. Each new member brings unique joys and sorrows, skills and abilities, thoughts and beliefs to our community. With every new member, we become a new congregation. Please know that churches aren't perfect. A time may come when the church disappoints you. A time may come through action or inaction that you fail the church. Please know that the covenant between us offers the hope of healing as long as we stay in relationship with each other. The power of covenant does not mean that it does not matter what happened. It does not assert something. I don't know. I'm sorry. I think I'm missing a page. It does assert, though, that what is important is what happens next. You are now a part of us, and we of you. May our days together be joyous. The congregation will now welcome our new members with a blessing. Please take a look at the screen here and find our new member blessing, or turn to the back cover of your hymnal. New members, please respond with the words, I have. Congregation, friends, you have joined a church by placing your names alongside ours in our membership book. Having come of your own free will to live in covenant with us and to move together with us into the future with hope and vision. Congregation, we the members of the Unitarian Church, welcome you to join us in the journey of life. We covenant to walk with you in the spirit of love and with service to one another as our law. We will live with you in peace, seek the truth in love, and help one another, that we might be a blessing to you as you bless us with your presence. Let's give our new members a round of applause. We have a special song, and did we get a photo? I'm sorry. Did we get a photo? Okay. You guys may be seated. Thank you so much. Thank you. Consider yourself one of the family. We've taken to you so strong. It's clear we're going to get along. Consider yourself well in. Consider yourself part of the furniture. There isn't a lot to say. Who cares?
strange to have so many people on the front row. You're stuck there. Our reading this morning is from a book called Inciting Joy by Ross Gay. But what happens if joy is not separate from pain? What if joy and pain are fundamentally all tangled up with one another? Or even more to the point, what if joy is not only entangled with pain or suffering or sorrow, but is also what emerges from how we care for each other through those things? What if joy, instead of refuge or relief from heartbreak, is what, if flourishes, I had to look that up, blooms from us as we help each other carry our heartbreaks? Which is to say, what if joy needs sorrow? Or what Zadie Smith in her essay Joy calls the intolerable for its existence. If it sounds like I'm advocating for sorrow, nope. Besides, sorrow, unlike joy apparently, doesn't need an advocate. But what I am advocating, and adamantly so, is that rather than quarantining ourselves or running from sorrow, rather than warring with sorrow, we lay down our swords and invite sorrow in. I'm suggesting we make sorrow some tea from the lemon balm in the garden. We let sorrow wash up and take some of our clothes. We give sorrow our dad's slippers that we've hung on to for 15 years for just this occasion. And we drape our murdered buddy's scarf, still smelling of nag champa, over sorrow's shoulders to warm them up some. We wedge some wood in the fire. As we are refilling their tea, we notice sorrow is drinking from a mug given to us by someone we've hurt.
My Uncle Bud was a very different kind of guy. My grandmother's brother lived in Florida away from the rest of the family. He would visit often because he and my grandmother were best friends, except that she never accepted that my uncle was most likely gay. Spending his life in the closet, which is why I suspect he lived so far away. I learned a lot from my uncle, who was in his life a preacher of a conservative denomination, a reflexologist, and a practiced acupressurist. Similar to my grandmother, but very different in many ways. And it was his alternate thinking that led me towards Unitarian Universalism later in my life. My uncle supported me financially through seminary. He sent me a check every month. I depended on that check, but was never very good at saying thank you. I was once called to account for not sending so much as a thank you card to my uncle, but I still put it off. Actually, I tended to put it off because the one time I did send a little note to say thank you, I received notes about my grammar. From that point on, I was very nervous to send him a card, though I loved him very much and thought about him frequently. In his later years, he became riddled with cancer. I remember how it racked his body, because he was the kind of guy who would say things at dinner like, "You know, I tried a new supplement, and the other day I found out that I had less blood in my urine." Know anyone like that?
My brother.
Yeah. He was very open about a lot of things. Once while our visits coincided, I was coming back from seminary and he was coming to visit my grandmother. We were sitting together in my grandmother's living room. My grandfather was there, and my dad was there, and my Uncle Bud. He was talking about some supplement that he was trying, and I was nodding along, paying little attention, when my always so gentle uncle looked at me and said, "Don't placate me, you little shit." Let's look at that for a second. I debated while I was writing this sermon, do I just quote him directly or do I change the lyric or the language? And I thought, what would I say? "Don't placate me, you little crapper"? I mean, it just doesn't work the same. But that's what he said to me, and it took me by surprise because I knew him to jokingly use some strong language, but I'd never heard him raise his voice in anger. I apologized. He and my grandmother and my grandfather, who were a little pale in the face, just sort of went on like nothing happened. A week later, I received a new Bible in the mail, an apology, and I decided I would write him a letter in thanks. So I wrote my letter, but I didn't send it yet because I was going to have some friends of mine look over the grammar. And he died later that day. Yeah, that's the response, isn't it? Timing. I held the Bible to my chest and fell asleep, silently crying on my couch. There was never a memorial service for my uncle, and for many years his ashes sat in my grandmother's basement untouched. And over the years as a minister, I've had to think about that. And I've thought a lot about grief, whether we're grieving a loved one or the loss of an election, or the loss of a way of life, or grieving the loss of memory or agency, as one does when afflicted with dementia or Alzheimer's. I've not come to grips with my grief. Just recently, I lost a college friend, and a few years ago, I lost a man who'd become my best friend as an adult. And still, I've never really been able to wrap my brain around the grief. But memorial services and funerals, those I get. They have rules. They have parameters. Yes, grief never settles right with me, but memorial services, they make complete sense. This past week, we hosted a memorial service here at Hope for a young man, 20 years old, who died of a fentanyl overdose. just so you know, the sermon's about joy. I led the memorial service for the man who died, or the young man who died, and it was very tragic. Lots of crying. And this fentanyl, it's nasty stuff. As I said, I was never really able to wrap my head around grief, but I know about memorial services. And there is a pretty important ingredient to a memorial service or a funeral that many people don't know or think may be inappropriate. And while I was preparing something in the sanctuary before the memorial service started, I heard that ingredient that we'd been missing all morning. Laughter. Followed by the normal, I guess I shouldn't be laughing right now. And I thought, actually, yes, you should. But I didn't say anything. Later, while walking out to my car, I stopped by a large circle of the young man's family. This was after the memorial service. Sharing stories, laughing out loud with each other. Because there is no better time for laughter than at a funeral. There is no better time for laughter than at a funeral. When it comes to joy and sorrow, it's human nature to divide them into binary categories. On one side, we have joy. We love joy. It's awesome. It makes us feel great. It gives us energy. Then there's sorrow, and it's way over here. And it isn't anywhere near joy, nor should it be brought up when joy is taking place. In fact, sorrow and joy ought never cross paths. We will keep our joys over here, our sorrows over here, and never the twain shall meet. Then I hear laughter at a funeral. I look out among the waiting congregation for the service to start. I wandered the entrance hall of the church, and lo and behold, I saw smiling. I began to hear little things like, "It's good to see you," and "How's everything going?" I heard the short emotional outbursts of what I would call joy when two people who haven't seen each other in such a long time would come together. And after the service, I wandered through those circles, and I heard more laughter as they discussed the deceased. It's as if at the end of the service, the hard part and the heavy lifting was over, and they were free to reminisce, to smile, and to laugh. I might even go as far to say that the purest joy and the best laughter is at a funeral, because it's laughter and joy that sorrow cannot stomp out. In his book, Inciting Joy, Ross Gay says, "But what happens if joy is not separate from pain? What if joy and pain are fundamentally tangled up with one another? Or even more to the point, what if joy is not only entangled with pain or suffering or sorrow, but is also what emerges from how we can care for each other through those things?" In his book, he explores not only the root of joy and sorrow, but the inherent connection. He goes on to talk about how some of the truest joy comes from sorrow. In fact, he reminds me of this poem by Rumi that I've read many times, that I often use at funerals. This being human is like a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meaningless, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes an unexpected visitor, Rumi says. He says, "Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows, or violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond." And in the same way, Rumi sees being human as a guest house with different arrivals breaking up the day. Gay articulates that sorrow too is a guest in this house. And he says, rather than quarantining ourselves or running from sorrow, rather than warring with sorrow, we lay down our swords and invite sorrow in. I'm suggesting we make sorrow some tea from the lemon balm in our garden. We let sorrow wash up and take some of our clothes. We give sorrow our dad's slippers that we've hung on for 15 years just for this occasion. And we drape our murdered buddy's scarf, still smelling of Nagchampa, over sorrow's shoulders to warm them up some. We wedge some wood in the fire and we're refilling their tea, and we notice sorrow as drinking from a mug that was given to us by someone we've hurt. But as I said, this is a sermon about joy, isn't it? The theme for the month has been joy, and I'm spending a lot of time on sorrow. And I'm doing that for a specific reason. They are linked like breath, and inhale and exhale, a joy and a sorrow. There is not one without the other. There is something special that happens at a funeral and at the memorial service. The special thing is that people bring their grief with them. The expectation is that memorials will be awkward and isolating. As a culture, we do everything we can to hide our grief. Our culture gives very high regard for rugged individuality. We bring that rugged individuality into the memorial service with us. But when we come in, what we find is that if we truly bring our grief with us and we're able to access it, we find it is often laughter at a funeral. Gay calls this the solidarity that incites joy. Yes, if we're able to put away our rugged individuality and bring our grief as it is together with others who are grieving, we might just find joy. We might find laughter at a funeral, and something special takes place in our heart. I told you about my Uncle Bud in the beginning of this sermon. I told you about falling asleep, clutching his chest with the final gift he'd given me, but I never told you about his ashes. Following the death of my grandfather many years later, it was decided that my uncle's ashes would be split into 2 large ball mason jars. One would go into my grandfather's casket, and one would later go into my grandmother's. While we were all at my grandmother's house looking for documents, cleaning up, etc., after the death of my grandfather, my aunt came to me, pushed the box of ashes, still in their packaging, to me, and said, "Here, we have to separate these ashes into 2 jars." And she indicated the 2 jars. And we have to do it quietly so your grandmother doesn't see, because she'll try to help. Didn't understand that, but apparently that's a thing. When my aunt has a task that can be sensitive in front of her, she tends to approach it militaristically, giving orders. So we went to it. We opened the box to find a very large bag. And I don't know if you've ever messed with cremains before. They're like powder. We don't expect that. We put down old newspaper so that the ashes didn't get all over the place, and we began to pour from the bag to the jar, and the phone rang. My aunt immediately left, leaving me by myself with the cremains, and began talking on the phone. I paused for a little while, but it seemed as if she was going to be on the phone for a little while, and I decided I could use a funnel to make this easier. So I went to my aunt and I said, "Aunt Holly, is there a funnel up there I can use?" And she reached into my grandmother's drawers and pulled out her baking funnel. And I said, "Isn't this her cooking funnel? I'm going to pass Uncle Bud through it." She said, "We'll wash it when we're done." What do you say to that? So I went back to the cremains. I put the funnel in the jar, started to pour as gently as possible, and it was going so great until it wasn't. That's the other thing about cremains you may not know, is that after they sit for a while, they clump. And just as things were going so well, all of a sudden came this gigantic clump. And the clump went down, and poof, the ashes went up. So I'm standing there, Uncle Bud all over my face, and we started to chuckle. And my aunt finally, off the phone, comes down in a hushed tone and said, "Hush! Because remember, we're trying to do this without grandmother's knowledge." And still a reason I don't understand. So there we are, two people standing over a ball mason jar with a kitchen funnel and a bag of ashes. And after completing the project, there was a bit of a mess because of the past puff that caused some ashes to spill. So I had a plan. I was going to fold the newspaper and gently tip it into the jars so we could save all of the ashes. When my aunt, like a whirlwind, moves the jars and begins to crumple up the paper. And I said, "You can't just throw that away. That's Uncle Bud." And she looked at me and said, "Well, God love him, God bless him," and threw the first set of paper away. And I said, "But," and she looked at me, "God love him, God bless him," and she threw the second paper away. And I said, "But," and then she looked at me through gritted teeth and said, "We love him, God bless him," and she threw the third paper away. And we laughed, and we laughed, and we laughed, and we laughed. And I never got to attend the funeral of my uncle. I don't get to attend a lot of family funerals. But at that moment, more than 15 years after his death, I finally felt something inside give way from grief to joy. I finally got my laughter at a funeral. And it meant everything. Look, folks, it may feel like a funeral outside with everything going on, with the politics, with what's going on around the world. And maybe it is. Maybe it is. But remember, where there is mourning, there should also be laughing. Because joy is always appropriate, whenever it comes, even if it comes in our grief. So I encourage you this day forward to think about your sorrows and think about your laughter. That when you go to memorial services, you respectfully don't necessarily hold back that little chuckle or the joy at seeing the people around you that you haven't seen in such a long time. Because joy is always appropriate, even in grief. Thank you. Our generosity recipient for this month is City Lights, and the rest of this month I will spend most of this time talking about City Lights. But as it is the last day of our pledge drive, I wanted to let you know how important it is that we make a pledge and that we keep our pledges. In the last year, we donated 17,000 and some dollars to generosity recipients. We provided 100 meals per month at the Tulsa Day Center. Our partnership with the Scouts, folks, let me tell you that initially when we offered this place to the Boy Scouts, there were a lot of people who thought that it may not be appropriate for the Boy Scouts to be at a Unitarian church. but we won them over because of our kindness. And when they left that day and we'd offered them this place, this opportunity to be part of us, there was no question in their minds that this would be their home. And there was no question in ours because of our kindness at Hope Unitarian Church, because of the love we have for one another in the world around us. We had over 300 community members at our trunk or treat. And we've engaged social justice through through many different opportunities. I know many people were at the rally yesterday. I know that we've got people committed to action to Tulsa Metropolitan Ministries, and we've got people working in the community regularly. We have a good church. To support that good church, we need good pledges. We need people who are willing to commit to this place so that this can continue, because we don't continue without you. It's often that we say, well, you know, we've got to keep the lights on, but I don't think about it that way. I think about it more like we need to keep the light at the top of the hill on. As we enter into this time of question in the culture around us, we need to create a home for the LGBTQ community, for people who feel ousted, for people who don't feel safe. We need to be a progressive light in the darkness that's around us. I mean, where else can an atheist have a good religious service? We need this place. Tulsa needs this place. The world needs Hope Unitarian Universalist Church to survive, to thrive, and to move forward so that our next generation that took up that second row or that third row always has a place to call home. So if you have not yet made your pledge, I implore you to do so and invite you at this time to give generously to the congregation and to the generosity recipient. We build on foundations we did not lay. We warm ourselves at fires we did not light. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. We drink from wells we did not dig. We profit from persons we did not know. We are ever bound in community. Let's sing our final song. Our final hymn is hymn number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. And I will invite everyone to rise in body or spirit as you feel called. Let's extinguish our flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fires of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. It feels like a funeral outside with everything going on, and maybe it is. But where there is mourning, let there also be laughing, because joy is always appropriate, even in